One unexamined clip can make a YouTube video uncertain. Before import, write 4 fields: source page, license, exact asset, intended use.
If the result says free, why not start cutting first?
Because free to view isn't a license. The source page can be reposted, terms can be incomplete, and you may need conditions you didn't carry into the project. We're not giving legal advice, we're making uncertainty visible.
Liam, I'd save the retrieval date too. It tells future me what I actually checked.
So I start with the page, not a mystery download.
Right. Record the URL, creator if supplied, asset ID, and required credit. A screenshot can support your record, but it's in a magic shield. Then ask what the clip is supposed to show.
A timeline shot can illustrate editing. It can't prove that YouTube approved a channel or that a person endorsed a tool.
That's the visual truth test. Keep a claim modest enough that the picture actually carries it. Coming up, we will read the terms and build the exit ramp for unclear footage. Start with the source page while it's still open. Copy the page address, the asset title or identifier, the creator name when it's supplied, and the date you accessed it. Then save the page itself or a capture of the relevant terms. A file can be renamed, sent through a chat, or exported in a different format. The source record lets you reconnect that file to the page you actually reviewed. It also separates what you know from what you merely assume.
That turns a download into an audit trail.
And it catches the first bad shortcut. Search results, a file name, and a social post can help you discover a clip. They're not the same thing as the source page for that clip. If I can't get back to the page that states the terms, I mark the asset unresolved instead of trying to remember what a thumbnail seemed to say.
Now add intended use. Write a plain sentence, such as silent transition, while we explain how an editor compares sources. Don't write proof that a company recommends this workflow. That second sentence adds a claim the moving image can't carry. The best use note is modest, observable, and tied to the scene. It keeps the footage from quietly changing the meaning of the narration.
So the question isn't only can I use it? It's what am I asking the viewer to believe when they see it?
Exactly. That's why a neutral edit desk shot is useful here. It shows a person reviewing material. It doesn't establish the terms of a license, an endorsement, a business relationship, or a legal conclusion. The document and the source page carry the factual claim. The B-roll gives the viewer motion without borrowing authority it doesn't have. Before we keep going, one small favor that actually moves the needle. If this is landing for you, tap like, then subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss the rest. 2 taps, completely free, and it pushes this in front of more people who need it. Professor Adiemi, welcome. Liam found a familiar license. Does that make the clip safe?
No, it makes it a lead to verify. Read the exact asset page, license version, and conditions before you decide how to use it.
May read is that a badge isn't a verdict.
YouTube's own help page lists permission, Creative Commons, public domain, and fair use as routes creators may consider. It also says those routes don't guarantee avoiding claims or strikes. A workflow should reduce avoidable mistakes, not promise certainty.
That means the ledger has evidence, not a guarantee stamp.
CC BY 4.0 allows sharing and adapting, including commercial use when its terms are followed. That doesn't mean every platform upload carries CC BY, so verify the license attached to the exact asset.
What about Pixels?
Pexels says its photos and videos may be used for free and modified, while its license has restrictions. So Sarah, record the current license page and use only a claim the neutral footage can honestly illustrate.
If an uploader, license, or intended use is unclear, I don't fix it with confidence. I pause the asset, find a clearer alternative, seek permission, or get advice appropriate to the risk.
Professor Adiemi, thank you. That pause is the feature, not a failure. Now let's keep the record with the project.
Here is a practical distinction. A license is a set of conditions. A platform label, a search filter, or a familiar logo may point you toward conditions, but none replaces reading them. For every asset, identify the license version, identify any attribution language, and check whether the intended use creates a question you can't answer from the page. If it does, stop treating the asset as ready. The decision isn't dramatic, it's simply pending.
Pending is a status, not a disaster.
YouTube's copyright guidance is useful because it resists the easy promise. Permission, Creative Commons, public domain material, and exceptions such as fair use aren't interchangeable shortcuts. The help page says these routes may be available, while warning that they don't guarantee that claims or strikes will never occur. For a creator workflow, that means we document the route we think applies and get qualified advice when the consequence of being wrong is meaningful.
Can I make a reusable card for every clip, or does that become busy work?
Use a small card, asset field name, source URL, license URL and version, creator or uploader as shown, required credit text, retrieval date, intended scene and job, final decision, cleared, permission requested, or don't use. That's not a legal opinion. It's an editorial record that makes the next question visible before a deadline makes the decision for you.
Notice what the card doesn't say, safe forever. Terms can change, uploads can be removed, and a record can't solve every rights question. But it prevents the avoidable failure of using a file whose origin you can't reconstruct. Caroline would call that a missing receipt. In an edit, it's the same problem with better music. Create a source card before you import. Project, file name, source URL, license URL, creator if supplied, credit text, and where the clip will appear.
Then I write one honest job sentence. If I can't explain the clip's job without exaggerating, it doesn't belong.
I keep a do not use column. Missing terms, unclear uploader, or context that would mislead a viewer.
Good. A generic license shot can support a neutral transition. It shouldn't imply sponsorship, endorsement, or an outcome it did not document.
Then the ledger stays beside the edit with the source, terms, credit, and location of every asset.
Send this to the collaborator whose folder is only named Final 2. They need the ledger before the next export.
That's the point. Document what you know, replace what you can't verify, and get qualified help when the risk is meaningful. This is education, not a legal opinion.
I'm keeping that line. A documented clip beats an attractive mystery.
Here's the 4-video workflow in practice. First, choose a visual job. Establish a room, show a real object, demonstrate a screen, or create neutral motion between teaching beats. Second, search where a clean source plausibly exists. Third, inspect the exact asset page and the actual frames. Fourth, write the ledger card before import. That order matters because it lets the source and the picture reject an asset before the edit begins, depending on it.
What should make me reject a clip even when the terms look clear?
Wrong context. A branded screen that has nothing to do with your lesson. A uniform or location you can't identify. A clip whose person looks like they're endorsing a product you only mentioned in narration. Or an image that makes a historical, medical, financial, or legal claim feel documented when it's only illustrative. Licenses and visual truth are separate checks. Pass both.
Then store the ledger with the project, not in one producer's memory. Give collaborators the same file name and source card. If a revision removes a scene, mark the asset unused. If a clip moves to another episode, add the new location rather than assuming the old decision covers every new context. That's how a small record becomes a system instead of a last-minute hunt through downloads.
The amount of faster editing later because the decision has a home.
And clearer judgment now. You don't need to become a copyright lawyer to make a better first pass. You do need to know when your record is incomplete, when a picture overstates the point, and when the right next step is permission, a different asset, or qualified guidance. Build that pause into the workflow, and your visuals can support trust instead of borrowing it.
The useful part is that the decision is visible. A collaborator can see what was checked, what remains unclear, and why a clip was kept or replaced.
Here's what I'd actually do. Make the ledger card before an asset enters the timeline. If a source, condition, or visual claim can't survive that card, choose another clip or get qualified guidance. That's faster than rebuilding an edit around a mystery file.
My next project gets one extra folder, source pages, license notes, and the do not use list together.
That's the rule to carry forward. A clip earns its place twice, once through the terms and once through the truth of the picture. Like and subscribe for creator systems that make your work clearer before it gets louder. What field will you add to your B-roll ledger before your next edit? Keep the record with the project and take care.